Hello, and welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
What's up, Delora?
Hello.
You ready to get into another murder mystery, darling?
Yes.
I have been to one murder mystery event, at a venue. Have you been to any of them? Because I
always want one. I always wanted to attend one. One of my favorite board games of all time is Clue. And
same.
When I was in my early 20s, there was this place that had murder mysteries, but I never got a chance to sign up for it. Maybe I need to put that on my list again. I think it'll be fun.
Well, if you end up going back to Orlando at some point, I'll give you the name of the one that's there. But I swear it was just like in certain shows as a kid. Like there was an episode of Golden Girls where they did a murder mystery. There was just an episode of some classic TV. And I think that's my catalyst when I first fell in love with it. But for sure, it's always whodunits are just fun, right? It's like just something, a puzzle to be solved. So here we go, getting into The Perfect Couple. As we teased at the end of last episode, is our recap today. This is a series that dropped on Netflix September 5th. 6 episodes available for you to enjoy. Quick summary. When a lavish wedding ends in disaster before it can even begin, with a body discovered just hours before the ceremony, everyone in the wedding party is a suspect. This is directed by Suzanne Bayer, based on a book by Ellen Hilderbrand. Cast: Nicole Kidman as Greer. I think Nicole Kidman may be one of the most referenced people in any of our recaps. We've done at least 3 or 4 series with Nicole now.
Seriously, the one with who's Notting Hill? Hugh Grant.
Yes.
9 Perfect Strangers.
Yes. This is at least our 3rd or 4th recap with her.
Yeah.
So she's popular.
She stays distraught and cheated
and rich.
and wealthy.
We also have Liv Schreiber, who plays Tag, which, by the way, her and Naomi Watts are besties. So apparently she asked Naomi's permission before she hopped into the series with her ex-husband playing her on-screen husband. So
I was going to say, I find him to be incredibly attractive.
Interesting.
Oh my goodness. Ray Donovan, he had this je ne sais quoi that I was like, oh, okay, clutch my pearl.
In this series, he's called a DILF as well. So I guess you're in good company. Good old Tag. We also have Eve Hewson as Amelia, who is Bono's daughter. I was yesterday years old when I found that out.
Shut the front door.
Yes,
I was
ma'am.
like, oh, she's an Irish actress.
Yes.
It makes so
Bad
much sense
Sisters, one of my previous hidden gems, she was in. I had no idea who she was till I started looking for this series. I was like, wait, Bono was your daddy? Okay.
They don't have the same last name.
No. Even though, do I know Bono's name?
They do have the same last name. He just goes by Bono, though.
Okay, so I was going to say, now that I think about it, I don't know that man's name. So, okay.
I see it now. Yo.
Mm-hmm.
Yo. Okay.
We have Billy Howell as Benji. We have Megan Fahey as Merritt, who we love. She's, again, coming as a White Lotus alum, but also coming from, what's the name of the show?
Tide.
There we go.
That was our show, ABC Family.
Well, I was going to say, what's it called now? Freeform. On Freeform.
Yes.
That was a great little cast.
Anymore. It was. I said, I don't think Freeform exists anymore. Does it?
Don't have cable, baby. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know. We also have Ishan Qatar as Shooter. Cutie.
First of all, he is huge. in Bollywood.
Okay.
I looked him
Crossover.
up and I was like, we'll get there. But his dancing was a little bit more enthusiastic compared to his counterparts. And so when I looked him up, I'm like, oh, he's a star in
Makes
Bollywood.
total sense.
This is him trying to cross over. And
Yep.
he is very cute.
We have the Dakota Fanning as Abby. We
This
have
is vintage.
girl.
She was trying to have her I will not be rich moment.
She was so deliciously like shady in this series. Like I really enjoyed this turn for Dakota Fanning. Jack Renner as Thomas, who the comic relief, butt of all the jokes.
He's the one that's trying to be the new Matthew McConaughey. Glenn. I feel like Glenn Powell could have played this role. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like he's filling in Glenn's old shoes.
I think he could too, but Glenn's too attractive. It would have distracted.
Yeah.
Because the daddy's supposed to be the one everybody's lusting after, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sam Navola as Will, Donna Lynn Champlin as Detective Nikki Henry, Michael freaking Beach as Chief Dan Carter.
I still love him. He has been an F-boy in a lot of our classics.
Soul Food, Waiting to Exhale, trash. Trash,
garbage. But I'd be rooting for him in his career. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not the man. It's the face. The face is the problem because you've been many a terrible character. But no, as a person, of course, he's just playing his role. He plays them very well, clearly. Isabel Ajani as Isabel Nale. And special mention to our girl Mia Isaac from Black Cake popping up in here as Chloe. Okay.
I was so happy to see her. I was like, yes, girl.
She's so cute.
I'm like, you do realize she had an entire series on her back, but okay. Mm-hmm. Give her this little role.
Mm-hmm. Accent and all, baby. Carrying.
Yes.
All right, reviews. Rotten Tomatoes, 63% critic score, 68% audience score, and 62% of Google users gave this series a thumbs up. Delora, what is your grade for The Perfect Couple?
The Perfect Couple was an interesting series in that the tone was kind of hard to follow. And I say that to say, it's like, is it like Presumed Innocent, where it's like drama and, you know, affair and lust and crime of passion? Or was it like Big Little Lies, where you had a little bit of humor, a little bit of snark, but very real situations? I feel like it definitely ultimately landed in the Big Little Lies, White Lotus category, you know, where it was serious, but it didn't take itself so seriously to where, you know what I mean, that it was hard to get some of the jokes. Some of the jokes did fall flat, but I was invested. I am always here for wealthy people acting badly. I don't know what that says about me. And everybody, we're all criminals, literally, one way or another. So I gave this show a B+.
Interesting point about trying to figure out at first whether we are supposed to take any of this seriously or not, because I think there were just so many drugs and so much alcohol floating around that it didn't feel like anybody was in their right mind most of the time. Like, I don't know if there was a scene where Tag did not have either some weed or a drink.
Yo.
Most of the time, Greer, aka Nicole Kidman, had a drink as well. Like, I feel like everybody was constantly under the influence.
They really were. It was to the point when it was a point in the show where Tag and Greer were just sitting and he made them a drink. And I'm like, are they not consuming alcohol like ever? Like, I don't.
Always. When you walk in up to the house, they giving out drinks. You know what I'm saying? I was like, is this a resort? We got blackberry mojitos just on deck.
The green juice had vodka and I was done. I was done.
Gosha. A real one lusting after her boss like that. He ever calling her go-go. I'm like, excuse me? What are we doing in this house? All right, so my grade is a B. I'm gonna say that off the bat. I know this was my hidden gem, but I think this was one of those series that I was excited for. I enjoyed, but was I glued to my seat? Nah, because I kind of picked this up, started it, watched something else, came back, watched something else, came back. It wasn't one of those that was like, oh my God, I got to see what happens next. Maybe because they didn't leave on like super big cliffhangers for me that would have kind of forced me to continue to move forward. Again, the cast was great. I enjoyed them, but it wasn't like how I felt with Presumed Innocent, where I'm like, oh my God, I got to get this figured out. I didn't even really try with this series to figure it out, if I'm honest. I was just kind of along for the ride. So I enjoyed it. I was invested, but it wasn't one of those on the edge of my seat thriller type of series that I have to know what's going on.
I'm not gonna lie, it gets to be plus for me because that opening dance sequence brought me so much joy every time. And when it would drop, I would act surprised every time, like I knew it wasn't gonna happen. And I binged it. I didn't pick it up. When I watched it, I was seated. And it was fun.
Well, spoiler alert, you went into my first question, which was, did you enjoy the intro, that full cast and crew dance number? So there you go.
I tell you, when it first happened, I was like, WTF is this? What is this? And then when you get to it by the second episode, you're like, yes, we are all criminals. Yes. And then you're like, by the third or fourth, you're picking out who's your favorite dancer. Like, I was invested.
I hit that skip intro button, I think, almost every time, except maybe the first or second.
I could not miss it. And I would rewind it when like, once you finally got into it, I was like, oh, we need to run this back.
Wow. Well, I'm glad their hard work paid off, because I guess some of the cast members were nervous. Megan seemed like she was living her best life. Some people, you could tell it was pure joy. And some people, you could tell they did not linger on them long, right?
I'm surprised that Nicole agreed to it.
I mean, I could see Nicole as somebody who's going to have fun.
Rouge, so, yeah.
And I could see her as somebody who would be game for whatever she needs to do. But I think more than anything, I'm sure it was just a fun bonding moment for like the cast. I guess the director said at first they had thought about doing a TikTok dance, but she was worried it was going to be outdated by the time the show dropped. So they chose to go with more like a Macarena style dance. So that's what we see that made the cut. And it was originally actually not going to be the intro. It was going to be a nightmare sequence. But things happened and it got moved. And so now it is your beloved intro dance number. So there you go. So the backdrop of this series, as we even see in the intro, is a beautiful Nantucket beach town, because what is a murder mystery without some opulence,
You absolutely need a gorgeous house and a gorgeous setting. One last thing about the intro. I'm sorry, Ashley, but I was legit watching it too, because I'm like, would I be able to determine who the killer is based off of their dance move, or how long they got camera time? And I did have one theory that was, I feel like, justified, and we'll talk about that once we get further into the recap.
To look at the intro for Easter eggs is thorough, so I applaud you for that. I was like, why? My mind was like, why are we still doing intros in streaming? Like, let's wrap this up. All right. So it is a festive occasion. It is the impending wedding of Benji and Amelia. Benji is a Winbury, one of 3 sons of Greer and Tag. Wealthy, thanks to Tag's side of the family, but he is considered the wayward black sheep. Whereas Greer is a successful author who has built her career around her relationship's image as the perfect couple. But things are not as rosy in their 29-year marriage as their public persona would imply. Come to find out, he bought an $18,000 bracelet that he did not give to his wife. I about choked when I saw that receipt. I said, $18,000 for what?
For what? And when you saw what it was, I was like, what is expensive about it? The custom design, like, I don't know. That was a lot. It also made me realize that I need to up my jewelry game, apparently.
My thought was, if that's $18,000, Elizabeth Taylor's collection must have gone crazy. You hear me?
Oh, yeah,
The
definitely.
Queen of Diamonds. And that was 18,000. Cut it out. Also, Greer does not approve of future stepdaughter Amelia. She does not feel like she's trying hard enough to be a part of the family. I was confused by her behavior at first because we didn't know enough about Amelia or the dynamics to understand why she seemed so hard on her. Did you think she was just kind of, being a hard ass because she didn't want her son to get married, or did you think there was genuine beef with Amelia?
I feel like Greer was giving old school, like, you have to dot your I's and cross your T's when approaching your future mother-in-law, especially if someone of their status and wealth, right? Like, I think she expected Amelia to kiss her ass a little bit more than what she was doing, and she called her out on it.
Well, it could also be mother's intuition because Amelia has doubts about even marrying old Benji. Seems like she's lusting after the best man, Shooter. And the wedding actually got moved up only because her mother is sick due to cancer and wanted the opportunity to be able to attend. But the wedding is not to be, as we discussed in the summary, because the morning of the wedding, a body is discovered. We are not told who it is off of the bat. So who did you think had passed away originally?
What the internet now calls unalive. I was intrigued by this though. Like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe we have no idea who this person is, right? I had my money was on Merritt and or Amelia. Those were the two because they were essentially the outsiders. I picked up very quickly. Merritt's energy was messy. And, you know, when it came to Amelia, again, her being an outsider, those were my initial assumptions.
I thought it was Benji because Amelia is the one who discovered the body and she had seemed so distraught that I was like,
Yeah.
so did Benji what would have happened that Benji would have drowned? But I just assumed it was the fiance.
Yeah. Well, I guess I should say Amelia too, because like, this is me like going in completely cold, not knowing anything. She was the bride, and let's keep it real. In these type of whodunit stories, 9 times out of 10, it was also going to be a woman, more likely a young woman. So those were like the thoughts behind my assumptions of who the victim was going to be.
That's fair. What did you think of the tea that was spilled by the family and the staff at the police station when people were called in for questioning?
Everyone's fake. Everyone has something snarky to say. The wedding planner was like, oh, they're rich, like private island rich, like let's get a monkey rich. And then
Kill someone and get away with it.
Rich. Gosha, I don't know if she realized that she's not a part of the family, but the way she talks about it is her against her with them against everybody else.
But also she is hilarious. Like, she's so judgmental and I just would not have expected for her to have such strong opinions about everybody based on their like habits and behaviors. She was saying, calling Amelia rude for making her own. She makes her own bed like a poor person.
Yeah.
Did you think everybody grows up like this, Gosha? Because you damn sure didn't. So I thought it was hilarious. Everybody, to your point, not just everybody was shady, right? Everybody had a lot to say. And I was like, you're not even getting questions from the police. It's just them seemingly spilling their guts. So like,
Yes.
This is going to be fun, was my thought. And it turns out the body found is Merritt's, maid of honor, and Amelia's bestie. The irony that this actress is the one who is found, given that she found the body in the last season of The
Right.
White Lotus that we recapped, not lost on me whatsoever.
It's not lost on her either. She talked about it when she was interviewed by Jimmy Fallon, and he asked her if she's okay with being typecast, like being in these kind of worlds, and she's like, "Oh no, I don't mind." I guess for her, it's like a check is a check is a check.
And she's dating old Leo from The White Lotus season
Yes,
2. So she's
yes.
like,
Also from
hey,
One Day,
I'm
so yeah,
living.
yep.
I'm living. Amelia is seemingly feeling guilty because she and Merritt had had a fight the night before. Turns out that that gold bangle was given to Merritt. She and Tag were having an affair. At this point, now that we know it's Merritt, we know there was an affair. Did you suspect Amelia had something to do with her death? Did you suspect Tag had something to do with her death? Who were your top suspects early on?
Definitely Greer. She was too put together for me, and by her being a fictional author, I was wondering if it was one of those things where she applied her knowledge, she put in her books into real life to,
The
take care of
fiction writer
things,
killing. Yeah,
you know?
makes sense.
So Greer was my number one suspect, honestly, because she was very suspicious to me. And again, too put together not to have some skeletons in her closet.
Yeah, I thought it was probably either her or Tag. Like the parents, the couple were my top tier suspects at this point for sure. Because I'm like, if he didn't kill her because he needed to get her out of the way for his affair, then the wife killed her because you're having the affair. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, just seemed like the most likely.
He did cross my mind, especially with the boat being out. But for me, I'm like, it's either, yeah, girl is still my number one.
So the Winberry family decided to put out a statement that Mary's death is a suicide, even when Amelia objects. Benji himself even comes to her and asks her to sign an NDA. Were they being insensitive given that her best friend just died? Or is this more so just like standard, we got to cover our asses type of energy?
Well, this also made me believe that Greer was behind it because I'm like, y'all are reacting way too quickly and efficiently for something this significant and random to have happened, right? And so for me, I feel like it was very selfish on their part. Like they wanted, it was giving this random chick was on our estate. She so happened to die. And we ain't got nothing to do with it. Let's influence the messaging by getting ahead of it and trying to tie it all up before the police got involved.
This was some Kardashian level Kris Jenner. Like, I don't mean to sound like
Yeah.
they're the family that came to mind to me, though. It's like, we're at such a level of like wealth and success that we don't even behave like normal people anymore because our first thought is not, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss necessarily. It's like, what do we need to do to cover our tracks and cover ourselves, you know? And so I don't even, I don't know if it was definitely insensitive, but I don't know if they saw it that way. It's almost like a reporter, to give an example from, something I've been a part of. When the Boston Marathon bombing happened, I remember I was in the newsroom and I was so shocked that my first reaction was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's happening. But the reporters and the producers' reaction is, how are we going to cover this? It's just very different because it's like immediately your mind goes into a different mode based on your job and your functionality with that. And for them, I think because of the level they're at, because of the success and fame and all this stuff, they don't think like normal people think anymore. So that's kind of how I saw this whole scenario. Not that necessarily it was guilt. It was just like, oh, y'all don't even handle stuff like regular humans. Like, Benji, you gonna come to your fiance the day after she discovers, or no, the same day, I think even, she
It was the
discovers her
same
best friend's
day.
body and asks her to sign an NDA?
Yeah, and
Damn.
he was giving her a hard time about it too, and I didn't like that.
Yeah. He's supposed to be so nice, so
You know what
sweet.
it also reminds me of, Ready or Not, that movie where a regular woman marries into this wealthy family, but they have a deal with the devil, and they all thought like, oh, every time someone gets married, they have, it's like it was like a random situation where it's like after so many marriages or the seventh marriage, you have to do, you have to play this game where you're hunted, you get killed or be killed, or the devil take everyone's lives. And so essentially it was her running for her life, spoiler alert, running from her life, trying to avoid being hunted. And she was looking towards her husband, like, are you going to protect me? He was like, yeah, I'm going to protect you, until he realized she got to go and he turned on her. That's what I was reminded of. This is really dark. It was a satirical movie, so there was humor in it, but you don't know if the deal with the devil was real or not until the very end, and I won't tell you what happened. But I was ready for him to switch up on her like that. Whereas, like, at the end of the day, this is my family. I do love you. We had some moments, but I'm going to stick beside them.
I mean, it did seem like they kept Benji a little mysterious intentionally.
Yeah.
Like he loves her, he's emotional towards her in certain capacities, but it feels like there's backstory with Benji's character that we don't get. So yeah, it did feel quite possible. So Thomas Winbury, the most problematic son, as I put in my notes, is having an affair with family friend Isabel, despite his very pregnant wife and the fact that she's also been with his daddy, Tag.
That's nasty on so many fronts.
It was also a little bit unexpected when it happened because I was like, did she know you as a child? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
how long she been what?
Again, giving other references is giving 50 Shades of Grey.
Yikes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. I've I've read the books and seen the movies. Yes. And
Yes.
Kim Basinger had to play that character, didn't she? Yes. Devastating. I hope that that's not what this was, but it was
Well,
disturbing if you
very
give
much
it too
so.
much thought.
But he was such a liar, though, that I'm like, was he willing to run away with her, or was he enjoying his affair with her, but also enjoying having access to her money?
I hope it's the latter because she was definitely not taking him seriously. He was talking about leaving his wife. She's like, it's
Yes.
just an affair, darling. Like, what are you? Don't you dare. What are you saying? This is just about fun. I don't want you.
Yes.
I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you. You know? Again, that's messy, that's complicated. But guess who else is pregnant? Merritt. She broke the news to the police, Amelia did, that there was an affair and there was a baby. But who didn't need to be told was Greer, because she spotted that gold bangle as soon as Merritt arrived. And in a flashback to a year earlier, the whole crew had been at the Winberry's house partying together, and that is where Merritt and Tag had met. So this has been going on for quite a little bit.
That was
It's,
my question. I'm like, when did y'all have time to meet?
guess they were doing a little hosting, while they were in the courting period between Benji and Amelia. So, despite Mary's death in the police investigation, Greer's doing press like People magazine to get ready for her new book launch. I was so confused by the relationship and dynamic between Greer and Tag in the moments when they are alone. He serially cheats on her, but also appears to be completely dependent on her, and claimed in one scene he loves her, he wants her, she's all he's ever wanted, and he wants her back. What were your thoughts about their relationship?
I have to say, when it came to Tag and Greer's relationship, I didn't get it. Like, they made references of like, Tag is obsessed. He's so in love with his wife. And I'm like, it's not adding up if he's a serial cheater. You know what I mean? And the way Greer is so icy towards him that I assume that she had a thing going on with Shooter because she just seems unbothered by Tag in that way.
I think she's so consumed with work. It seems like that she maybe didn't have time for affairs, or we just didn't focus on her affairs, because absolutely, like, how long has this been a marriage of convenience, as the one guy who was the wedding planner said? First of all, that guy reminds me of the one dude off of the Fire Festival who was willing to lose it all
for the water.
in his police interview. I was like, when there is another film, you need to play that guy, because spot on.
I will never forget. I will never forget.
He was ready to risk it all.
Oh, for some water on an island. Like, I am just done.
Yeah, but I think seeing the scenes when they're alone, obviously we know their marriage is broken, but
yes.
why are we still together? Like, is it just for the sake of the image that Greer is still putting up with you at this point? Because he's professing his love. Yeah, she let him touch up on her because, again, everybody thinks he's so hot, but he's usually high or drunk.
I didn't realize how much of a bum he was until, we find out the true state of everyone's finances. Yeah. I was like, so what is he good for? And like, so he's legit a trust fund baby.
Yeah. He's just charming and handsome and go with the flow, easy going. So everybody just likes him. Even Goja likes him, I don't get it. But this series had clues leading in multiple directions in this series. We have best man Shooter, who became a person of interest when his prints are found on Merritt's phone, and it seems like he's trying to flee. We have Benji, who had pictures and drawings of her. We had youngest son Will, whose prints and blood were found in the sand on an oyster knife, and he had that gold bangle. Were any of these clues legit to you as things were happening, or did this all feel still like distractions? Like, was Greer still your far and away number one, or did you start to be like, maybe it is Shooter, maybe it is Will?
I did fall for, I was really concerned about the pictures that Benji had in his possession, because why, right?
If my best friend had given my man pictures like that, we have problems. You lucky you're not alive for me to confront you.
Not okay at all. And then Shooter should have known better, but his actions felt extremely guilty. Like, where are you going, sir? Seriously. Will, I was confused on Will, but Will did kind of come off as like, he's the youngest. He probably doesn't know how to control his emotions. So who knows if he found out his dad had an affair, would he, and the chick is pregnant, would he lash out? Right.
Yeah. Will was real twitchy.
Yes, exactly.
And traumatized by the things that his parents and family have put him through.
Yeah. Especially with his long lost tutor. French tutor.
Man, who tried to commit suicide because of Tag. Like, I just, bro, how do y'all still like Tag? Is beyond me.
He was trash.
Yes.
Speaking of Nicole Kidman, like, every time she's in these rich ladies roles, all of her husbands are trash.
Yikes. Yeah, that's true. Very true. She don't know how to pick them. So Benji catches Amelia and Shooter post-kiss at the house. I did not like this storyline whatsoever, because they have this whole backstory of allegedly they met on a train in the city and they have a few moments. Yeah, he's hot. I get it. But the whole, I really don't like it when it's siblings. But still, like, this is his best friend, best man. Right. Why are we playing this game? And like, it had to be on the family estate. On the heels of Merritt's death. Why?
Yeah.
I don't feel like we needed this wrinkle.
But I also felt like she could blame it on the fact that she was distraught and got caught up in the moment or whatever and kissed him, because it's not like she effed him. You know what I mean?
No, but
So
you saw them building towards this connection, right?
yeah,
Why they were
yeah,
even, I thought it was inappropriate when they were alone in the house together and laid up kikiing with the fire
yeah.
going and stuff. I said, why? We don't know personal space. Like, why are we sitting here and then you sitting here staring at him on your knees when he comes in? I'm like, excuse me, did I interrupt something? Like, yo, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop this. I'm never a fan. I'm never a fan, and this is no exception. But thankfully, they did not kick her and her parents out that house. They let them stay. Part of it was to keep up appearances, obviously.
Uh, is there any other reason, Ashley?
Well, allegedly, too, there was nowhere to stay because it was 4th of July weekend. I don't think they were going to kick her cancer-ridden mother out on the streets.
Right.
But I think appearances definitely was the big to do, right? Because again, Greer is all about this book launch. We cannot let anything be amiss. I want people to be talking about my book and nothing else. Tag's reaction to finding out that Merritt was pregnant from her was initially kind of joyful, which shocked the hell out of me. I was like, is it because you're on drugs that you're talking about how beautiful this is? Because what?
Tag was really difficult to read because
I thought he was a sociopath at this point, Delora. I was like, oh, he's crazy.
But at this point, I didn't understand his motivations. Like, again, they talk about him being obsessed and really in love with his wife, but again, his actions doesn't align. He tells his side chick that he's excited that she's pregnant. Again, what are we?
But you realize he didn't even say, like, I'm so excited to share this with you. He was like, this is so beautiful. What? This is the most beautiful thing that can happen between a man and a woman. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Is this the weed? Because what are you saying? This will destroy your family and your life.
Yeah.
I was so confused. So I was like, he has to be crazy. Like, he has to be insane. Now, we see later as the conversation progresses in the night that the truth comes out, right? He wants to open the conversation about her not keeping the baby. So there it is.
But she was also an idiot. You don't want me to keep it. You lied to me. Of course. All he has done is lie to you, to his wife, to his children. Like, what do you expect out of this man?
It was sad to me too, because I hate to see her play that naive person. Like, the way Amelia made it seem, oh, she has all these guys falling over, but she doesn't sleep with anybody. She says sleep with somebody gives away your power. But who you choose to sleep with is this serially cheating married man who you think is somehow on the exit ramp to leave his wife. As Nicole Kidman told her, you are one of many.
Your best friend's future father-in-law.
Girl,
like,
when his wife has to tell you, like, whatever he said to you, he's lying, you know you've made the wrong choices in life.
Absolutely. Because she would definitely know that man ain't going nowhere.
Wasn't going nowhere.
Because that also requires work, and we know he's not accustomed to that.
Girl.
Working.
He may be a lot of things, but apparently he is not a murderer, because when he gets interviewed by the Popo, he has that watch, which, yes, to the smart watch that tracks things. Cleared that man.
Shout out to Justin Sylvester. We used to sit up. Okay, recap, friends. We used to watch. It was called E News or Daily E or something like that. It was a daily morning entertainment show on E News channel. And Justin Sylvester, one of our favorite commentators, would say, "This is how you know your man is cheating. Check the records on his watch, on his Apple Watch, and it will confirm if his heart rate is spiking at random times of the day that you don't know about." And I was like, "Is that a thing?" And now it's like been solidified in the show, and it tickled me so much. Like, had me cackling.
The girlies know. The girlies out there know.
You know what? I do not have the energy. I think for the man I married, because I know where he is right now. I know where he is 9 times out of the day, and he's not afraid to tell me where he's going. And I say that because thinking back to the Kardashians, I don't have the energy to be anybody's sleuth, looking through phones, trying to catch somebody in a lie. That's a lot of energy.
It is. It seems like it.
It's stressful.
It seems like it. Yeah. If there's no trust, let's just be done. But easier said than done. We know once those body parts start touching and entanglements start happening. That's what he reminded me too of Jada when he said, you know, you guys gonna fault me because we had a connection. I was like, Jada would have said that. She would have been like, you gonna fault me because I had an entanglement? Didn't mean I killed anybody.
Made it sound like an even deeper connection. Like our souls found each other.
Absolutely hilarious. Now I wish he had a cameo because that would have been epic. So Greer's book launch was a shit show. A man named Broderick Graham, who had been trying to get in touch with her, shows up, as does Tag, post-police interview, and he drops bombs about the real state of their marriage, including the occasional threesomes. Was this breakdown inevitable?
Absolutely. Absolutely. She was porcelain and the cracks were coming. I didn't know Tag was going to be the end of her, be a part of her undoing, but of course Tag was a part of her undoing because again,
Undoing. That was the name of the show with her and Hugh Grant.
Yes.
Yes.
Yo, shout out to me because
that recall.
Yep. But yeah, Tag ain't worth shit. So what does he have to lose? He's the one with the name. That's what I realized about the whole dynamic. I'm like, how many wealthy people are walking around with people presuming that they're wealthy, but it gives them access and connections, but are actually quite dry on the cash flow.
Yeah, it's like in The Gentleman. They were asset rich and cash poor.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think it happens a lot, especially when you're talking about generational wealth, right? And the fact that he was, I think, 5 generations of wealth that he had inherited with the house and all that stuff. So,
for sure. Of that, Prince Harry just turned 40, and apparently he just got an extra $10 million for turning 40. I'm like, do they have gates up until what age? Like, when you just gonna give me my inheritance or not? Like,
I don't know. Part of me probably feels like he's like, well, this was great because now, you know, I got a little extra change that I've been needing and right. wanting. So it may have come right on time. But it turns out that Broderick is actually Greer's brother. Shooter gave him $300,000 on Greer's behalf. And the police thought that she had basically hired him as a hitman. And it was like, no, actually, this is my brother. I saw that coming. Okay. But when she turned around and said she was an escort and that's how her and Tag met, I did not see that coming.
I did not either. And it really made me wonder, is this why she worked so hard to essentially launder her past? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I am a prolific writer, so let me feel justified in this lifestyle, in this persona. And to me, it also speaks to what we were talking about earlier with Amelia coming in. And it's like, you know, from a Greer perspective, it's like, I didn't do a 180 not to get all the benefits of being in this role and being in this position.
Yeah. And you could tell too, it was like a weight had been lifted off of her when she finally did tell the truth. Because to me, she was kind of Stepford wife in it before. Like she
She
reminded me of
was.
her character in that and trying to pretend to be this persona. So it really was envy as to what she felt towards Amelia because she was
Yes.
jealous that she was free to
Yes.
live and be herself, right?
Absolutely. I agree. And in addition to that, it felt like she was going to have a stroke with how everything was building up. And especially after Tag gave his revelations, it also justified what he was talking about too, in terms of their threesomes. What that revelation really spoke to for me is that Tag has been a lazy bum his entire life. You're paying for sex, you're getting drunk, you're getting high. What 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 are his interests? What is he contributing to his community, to the world?
Nothing. He's just a rich kid. He had all the perks and privileges, has never had to work. Now he lives off of his wife and her success. And yeah, I mean, and Nicole Kidman's the exact opposite. She had to get it out the mud. She had to take care of her family. She had to pay for everything. That's why she's still
Right,
paying for everything. She's been a
right.
workhorse her whole life. She was an escort, and her brother was her pimp
Yep.
just to help keep him on the straight and narrow, you know? And who would have thought pimping would be a way to keep somebody on the straight and narrow, you know? But pimping ain't easy. Anyway, so who killed Merritt? The big reveal. Okay, turns out it was the shady socialite herself, Thomas's wife, good old Abby. Drugged Merritt with a pill her husband stole from Amelia's mama, drowned her, and was stone cold about it. Because this all comes down to money, Delora. If Merritt had had that baby, the Winberry Trust, which none of them have received yet, would not have been paid out for another 18 years because the clause in it says that the youngest child has to turn 18 before that money is distributed. And Will was just shy of turning 18. When I tell you, when they actually showed the scene, I got chills. I was like, you mean to tell me that you had no problem just drowning this innocent woman like that? She did it
I
so
think
casually.
I wish we had more of a backstory on Dakota's character, in terms of like, if she was almost like a Nicole Kidman, in terms of like, you're in this world but you're not of it, right?
She makes mention. She says, we had a house here, but I didn't grow up like this.
Right. But you could tell that she was very much aware of the people in the community that she was now in, and was heartbroken when there wasn't a real Monet. But like, she knew about Shooter being
Rich.
kidnap rich.
Yes.
And so she seems very strategic in her partner, so to speak. I think it would have been nice to understand that motivation a little bit more. But honestly, I prefer this one over the book one.
Let me wrap, and I will let the audience know the differences if you folks have not read the book. So Abby's arrested in the series. Greer ends up leaving Tag and writes a new book about Amelia. And Amelia moves to London. Was the ending of the series satisfying to you in totality?
It was fine. It was fine. I mean, why is Greer writing about Amelia? I think authors love having an outsider come into this ecosystem of, like, family drama, and seeing how they navigate when something as serious as a murder happens. I don't know. I think when authors do that in books, I always just laugh, because I'm just like, sure, this is like an easy way out in some ways.
Yeah, the
Um,
her moving to London was kind of a neither here nor there to me. I was like, did
yeah,
your mama pass? Because why are you all the way over
right.
here?
That, and I, if I were her, I would have just went ahead and just been with Shooter.
Mm, interesting. I'm glad she didn't end up with Shooter. That I am glad
I
about.
mean, it would have been messy, of course, but if she was free, then why not?
I feel like she went out on her own, and I liked that for her. Abby getting arrested was hilarious when she was like, "But I'm pregnant." Yeah, that's not a thing. Like, you really thought your pregnancy was going to stop them from arresting you for murder? Oh, okay. You're delusional.
Her ending made her seem like, yeah, she was definitely, missing a few screws. I'm like, for you to be so smart and conniving, you're missing the plot here. Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
can absolutely go to jail.
Yeah. And to your point, the book does differ, friends, for those who are not aware, in that Mara's death in the book was accidental. It was an accidental drowning. Abby had actually given her a sleeping pill, and it was meant to drug the character of Isabel, whose name was Featherly in the book, to keep her away from Thomas because they were also still having an affair. And in the book, no justice is served, but Greer knows the truth because she overheard an argument between Thomas and Abby, where Abby admits to, the sleeping pill, and but had not known at that point that she had been, responsible for her accidental drowning. So the book definitely still differs from the series in kind of the overall messaging, I think, as well, about what you take
Yeah.
away from the book. So I think the book, if you're interested, it still sounds like it's worth a read. So any final thoughts, Delora, though, about the series itself?
Yeah, this was fun. It was interesting. I was interested on who did it. I thought it was fun to see Dakota in this light, but Dakota is such a fantastic actress and she's been doing it for such a long time. I always think it's interesting when like child stars who were, you know, really successful what they decide to do with their careers. You know what I mean? Like, for example, a Daniel Radcliffe does a lot of he does whatever the F he wants because
He
he
got
has
that
Harry
Harry Potter
Potter money,
money.
money. But he definitely chooses to do the quirky, the indie, route. And so for Dakota in recent years, she's been doing all types of stuff, and it has been fun to see her in these different roles.
Yeah, I
So
remember she was a member of the Volturi in the
yeah,
Twilight series.
well, that's what I was reminded of during the drowning scene. I was like, oh, it's giving red
She's needed the
eyes.
red eyes. Yep, yep,
Yep.
yep, yep, yep. Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
thought it was her acting was like delicious. Like I just thought she played this role so well, and it was so like spot on for like the stereotype of what I imagine an Abby to be like. And so, overall, I feel like the casting was great. Like I said, I was invested and interested. I just wasn't edge of my seat. I would love to see Megan play a different type of character. I know she may not feel typecast, but I kind of feel like she's always this same type of person. So I would love to see a little bit more range in her next role if
yeah,
somebody casts her and she chooses, whichever happens first. But overall, I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it. And Abby had not been on my list. So that was a good, nice surprise to discover that she had been responsible. So good job. All right, let's move on to Hidden Gems, Laura. What you got for the week?
I have two hidden gems this week. Let me first give my book recommendation. So I finished this book several weeks ago. It is wildly popular and it reminded me so much of this show. It's called The Perfect Marriage by Genevieve Rose. It's definitely a whodunit. Um, it is definitely a young couple. There's an affair. But like most of these whodunits, the husband who has the affair is the one that's up for the crime, and it's the wife who is like a well-renowned defense attorney job to try to get him off. And so the book goes into their relationship dynamics, his relationship dynamics with his former love, and the ending was a major, major twist. So if you love The Perfect Couple, I think you will enjoy The Perfect Marriage. My second hidden gem is a new show. We talked about it, or at least post on our social media about it. Super excited about Natasha Rothwell's new project called How to Die Alone. The first 4 episodes are available on Hulu as we speak today. And she's leading, she's the lead actress, and I'm invested. Now, a lot of her behavior is, I wouldn't condone. I don't know if we would be friends in real life because she's trying to get her life together and literally learn to spread her wings. But I think there's some great lessons in each episode, and everyone's dynamic is a lot of fun. There's an ex-boyfriend, former boss named Alex. There's Rory, who's the cutie from How to Get Away with Murder, Conrad. I'm looking forward to seeing how this season concludes. I think there's 4 more episodes. They're releasing the last 4 in batches of 2s. So yeah, if I like it, we might recap it. But I'm just super, super excited for this project for her, and hopefully she gets some love and recognition.
Yeah, I'm sorry that it wasn't all out because I didn't look ahead and I was like, hold on, we're done. Okay.
Right.
All right. So I have 3 hidden gems this week. The first one is my brother wrote a children's book. So I wanted to give a shout out to that. It is called A Day of Art and STEM with Uncle Trey. My brother is an engineering professor. And so he's always been really big into STEM and, helping to pass that on to the next generation. So this is the first, I'm sure, of
That's wonderful.
More books that he'll be writing for kids to learn and grow. But guys, you can get this on definitely on Amazon and some other resources and outlets as well. My second hidden gem, I teased this, I think, last week, but I watched this Elizabeth Taylor documentary on Max called Elizabeth Taylor, The Lost Tapes. These are interviews of her discussing, various things from her career to her marriages to all that. And it was messy. There's a lot I learned about Elizabeth. There are many things I knew, but still a lot that I learned about, her decisions she made, the way she was portrayed, the way she was seen in her era, the fact that she was really the first celebrity to deal with paparazzi to the extent that many celebrities deal with today. I mean, it was wild to see her. She couldn't move through crowds the same way you see your biggest celebrities now. Like this was back in the 50s and the 60s. It was crazy. So if you're a fan of
so gorgeous.
She was Violet Eyes, as they called her. If you're a fan of like the golden age of Hollywood and, you just like Elizabeth Taylor, want to learn more about, that era, that's a good documentary to check out. And then my final one is Tell Me Lies. This is a show on Hulu, 2 seasons out right now, or it's in season 2 rather. And I think we're 4 episodes in. This is a show. Yes, I had started it. It didn't move me at first. I started it again over the weekend and I am so sucked in. You talk about a series that every episode ends on a cliffhanger. You're like, hold on, I just got to start the next episode, see what happens. I was up till 1:30 in the morning on the first night I started watching this show. And I was like, I got to go to bed. Okay. So it's toxic. There's a lot of toxicity. It's based around college era. And then you have kind of a time jump forward because it's like centering on a relationship between 2 people that spans 8 years and all the subsequent fallout amongst their friends and their friends group from the decisions that are made, from incidents that happen, what have you. It has reeled me in. So I recommend it. Those are my 3 hidden gems for the week, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us for this episode. Be sure to check out The Perfect Couple on Netflix and let us know what you guys think of this series as well. Please share this episode with everybody you know. We so appreciate it. We will be back. But in the meantime, as always, be blessed.
Bye.